The phone vibrated at 2:14 a.m. Not a call, a message, one word, done. I stared at the screen, my hand tightening around it until my knuckles cracked. The number wasn't saved, but I recognized the last four digits. Hers, my wife's. Seconds later, a second message. He won't bother us anymore. I didn't breathe, didn't blink. The walls of the bedroom seemed to close in, the silence heavy, deliberate. She was asleep beside me, her body curled away, breathing steady. I wanted to believe it was a wrong number, a misfire, a joke, but the truth coiled in my gut like barbed wire. This wasn't meant for me. She rolled over, murmured something in her sleep, her hand brushing mine. Warm, familiar, poison. I slipped out of bed, the phone still glowing in my hand, and walked to the window. The night outside was black and still, a quiet so deep it felt staged. I typed nothing, replied nothing, but inside a switch had flipped. The morning after, she moved around the kitchen humming softly, like she always did, pouring coffee, buttering toast. But I wasn't listening to the sound. I was watching the rhythm of her hand as she reached for her phone on the counter. Casual, thoughtless. She unlocked it too quickly, shielded the screen with her shoulder. I caught the reflection in the kettle, her smile, a smile not meant for me. 15 years of marriage condensed into a single fracture. I replayed the message in my mind, dissecting every syllable. Done. He won't bother us anymore. Us. That word cut deepest. I asked nothing. My voice stayed calm. I left for work as if nothing had shifted. But behind the wheel, I felt the gravity of betrayal pressing against my chest. Every detail from the past months resurfaced. The late-night calls she answered in another room. The sudden weekend errands. The way she sometimes lingered at the door before coming inside, as if composing herself. Pieces rearranged themselves, fitting into a shape I had refused to see. Not just an affair, something deeper, darker. I began quietly. A second phone hidden in the garage, behind the fuse box. A tracker app I installed on her device while she showered. A small recorder placed beneath the passenger seat of her car. I moved through the motions of my days with military precision, showing nothing. My silence was my shield. Nights became my theater of observation. She'd tell me she was visiting her sister. I'd watch her car stop instead at the sheriff's cabin on the edge of town. Always the sheriff. Always him. Their voices filled my recorder later, low and careless. You sure he suspects nothing? He never looks at me twice. He trusts me too much. The words were bullets lodged in my spine. I gathered every scrap of evidence with the patience of a sniper. Text logs, GPS trails, a pattern that revealed itself in ruthless clarity. 15 years of loyalty answered with deceit. And still, I said nothing. Because I wanted the truth whole, not fragmented. I wanted it undeniable. The final piece arrived in a plain envelope. Inside, the DNA results. My son. The boy I raised, taught to ride a bike, held when he broke his arm. Not mine. The paper didn't tremble in my hands. My breath didn't falter. My pulse stayed steady. I set the envelope on the table during dinner. No words. Just the evidence between us, silent and brutal. She froze. The fork slipped from her hand. Her face drained of color. Where did you? Her voice cracked. I met her eyes, cold, empty. Her tears came fast, desperate. Excuses followed, stories, lies stitched with panic. She reached across the table, but I didn't move. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one betrayed. I was the executioner. The next day, I walked into the sheriff's office. I placed the recordings, the photos, the DNA test neatly on his desk. He tried to speak, tried to laugh it off. His mouth twitched. His hand hovered near his badge, his authority. But the mask slipped when I leaned close and whispered, "I already sent copies. Your department, her family, my lawyer, everyone knows." His face collapsed inward. Not anger, fear. I didn't shout, I didn't strike. I simply turned and walked out, leaving him with the wreckage of 2 lives tangled in ruin. Behind me, his voice broke the silence. My name, spoken like a plea. I didn't answer. I stood on the porch that night, watching the lights of the town flicker in the distance. Inside, she was packing, crying, begging. The sound no longer reached me. 15 years, erased in a single breath. But strangely, I felt no loss, only clarity. I had been living in a house built on lies. Now, the walls were gone. I lit a cigarette, the smoke curling upward into the night. For the first time in months, I inhaled without weight pressing on my chest. I didn't forgive. I didn't forget. I simply understood. Some betrayals don't break you. They sharpen you. And as I crushed the cigarette under my boot, one thought lingered, cold and final. They buried themselves. I just handed them the shovel.